Hi and welcome to the channel. I'm Sam and this is the Crafty Blinder van build. In today's video we're installing the Jones heavy duty leaf springs. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finishing off the install of the twin leaf springs on the rear of our van. These are Jones heavy duty, got them off eBay and they're really good. I've read quite a few good reviews on them. I can't wait to see how they improve the handling of my van. This is how we got on. That pin there on the bottom needs to locate in that hole there, and obviously we need to get one end in there and one end in the back there. So I'm going to slide it down that way, feed it up through this hole, and just manhandle it. It's going to get a bit intense, I think. When I started this van build, I had this idea in my head that I wanted to do every job myself on my drive with basic tools. And it's times like this that I regret making that choice and that decision, because I am absolutely knackered. This job is one of the hardest and dirtiest jobs I've ever had to do on this van, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I really wouldn't. It's one of them jobs that you shouldn't rush into. You should really consider the options. And if you've got somebody that can fit this for you, you know, maybe it's worth considering getting them to do it. All joking aside, this spring is considerably heavier than the last one that we took out. So just be careful when you're putting it in. You just heard there it slipped. Now, I didn't rush to catch it because I know the weight of this thing, and if I got my finger in the wrong place, it could have ended up a trip to hospital. So just take your time, make sure everything's secure, and just line things up. It can't be that easy. It just can't be that easy. Expected it being a proper fight. Just going to set everything in place until I get the bolts in. The leaf spring kit I bought came with new U-bolts and nylock nuts. I think it's important that you change these each time that you change your suspension. Your nylock nuts, when they're new, they will be shock and vibration proof, and once torqued to the correct settings, should never come loose. I've learned from experience as well. I had an old Iveco Daily many years ago as a works van, and it kept having problems with the rear axle, and it turned out that when they'd replaced a couple of U-bolts on the back end, they'd used the old nylock nuts, and obviously they'd lost their integrity and they didn't do what they were meant to do. So in the end, new nuts, new bolts, and the problem was cured. For now, we're just fitting the U-bolts and clamps loosely in an attempt to hold the spring in place while we put everything else back together. Well, let's try and get these bolts back in. Because I struggled so much getting bolts out when I was removing the leaf springs, I'm going to put everything back in place, but not fasten everything up straight away. Get all the bolts in and then go around and tighten everything up back up once it's lined up. I'm trying to get this last bolt in. Oh, got a little bit to play with. Oh my god, the fluid. Compared to the other one, that's absolutely fluid. I wonder it didn't shoot through the other side. Right, where are we at? Get a small ratchet on that. because the bolt didn't go all the way through, I'm actually using the threads on the bolt to pull it through that last little bit into the area where I've got to put the nut on.
Just put the nut on the back of it.
You haven't got a lot of room to work with, and if you've got sausage fingers like me, it's even less room. But what I'm trying to do is get the nut to sit on the top of the bolt head and use the threads to pull the nut on. It does work, but you've just got to persevere. It takes a little bit of time. And once I'm sure that it's not cross-threading, I'll ratchet it right up. As we have all the bolts in place, there's nothing stopping us now tightening this up. As I've tightened up the nut, the stem of the bolt has pushed the ratchet off, and I haven't got enough leverage to get back onto the socket, so the socket's stuck there, and it remained stuck there for quite some time. In fact, I ended up bailing on the job. I had to come back to it a lot later.
Let's get the shock absorber fastened back up and we'll go from there. Have to revisit that.
When I was taking out the old leaf spring, I took this bolt out to try and gain a couple more inches of clearance. Turned out, I got nothing, it gained absolutely nothing. But one of the eagle-eyed viewers commented on the last video and told me I should have removed the anti-roll bar link, and he's right, I should have. That would have given me another couple inches of clearance, no problem at all. So well spotted there, Paul. Well spotted.
Right. Should have been changing that out today, but unfortunately the company who I intended to buy off let me down. Just didn't tell me that everything was on back order, so I rang them to question them about where the shockers were, because they were still showing us at the warehouse. Turns out, well, they got a bit arsey and said that I'd already spoke to them about it when I hadn't. Turns out these parts aren't even in the country, so they were keeping hold of everything that I'd ordered until 2 shockers come in another 6 weeks. So I told them, well, once they started getting a bit arsey, I just said keep them. You know, at the end of the day, I don't need them that bad. We've put the lease on. If these aren't up to the job, we can get them at another time and we can change them out. It is a simple change out job, isn't it? 22 there and a 19 on the bottom. I reckon a half-hour job for each side. So, been nice to do today, but this is what happens when people let you down. Okay, we just need to get this located now. It's a little bit out, so we'll take the weight off the jack and we'll have a little look and see if we can play with it, move it back and forward. It might just pull into place with the bolts. I'll have a quick look now, because I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time. I'm trying to get you a better view. Just in there.
In the end, I took a bit of a chance and just hoped it would pull into place when I tightened everything up.
This is painstaking. I think I'm just going to go and get a deep impact of my brother and his ratchet gun.
For this side, I did persevere, but in all honesty, when it come to doing the other side, I did use a ratchet gun. I've proved the point that it can be done one way, but it's much easier doing it the other way with power tools.
If anything sounds loose. Them backends need a nip. God, I'm tired.
I was that tired, I forgot to even turn the camera around to film me tightening up the last bolt. Been a long day. I took this picture of the van while it was jacked up because it just looked so bizarre with the rear end so high in the air. I was really shocked to see when I let it down there wasn't a lot of difference. I'm very eager to see how the handling improved. It's time for it. So in this area previously I would have been buffeted by the wind. It's quite a windy day today and there's no buffet. I think we've cured the problem. That was the main thing for me, driving in wind. If I was going head on, not a problem. If I got a side wind, I was constantly having to correct the steering, but at the minute this thing seems to be absorbing it, no problem at all.
So when we started we were at 800. Now we're around about 850. That's a 2-inch lift on the back end. That's great, that.
Well, thanks for watching. That's the rear of the van done now. We're just waiting for the airbags to arrive. Shame about the Bilsteins not being available. 6 months now since I started this little project, and they're still not available. Hopefully things improve, things get better. We get a few more wagon drivers, we get a few more van delivery drivers, and obviously some guys in Germany knocking a few more Bilstein shockers out. But once they're available, we'll put them on van and we'll do a video on it. Thanks for watching, we'll see you again. Thanks for watching to the end. Consider hitting that notification button so you don't miss the next video. Consider subscribing as well, liking and sharing with your friends. Thanks very much. We've got a great little community here. It'd be nice to make it a little bit bigger. Take care.